The name Stauffer has long been synonymous with beauty and figure control for housewife and movie star alike. Stauffer Systems rhythmic motorized couches are manufactured for the 250 Stauffer Systems salons throughout the world. The response to the salon treatments has been so outstanding during the past 20 years that Stauffer in 1954 introduced a portable motorized couch for use in the home. This unit, called the Posture Rest, has skyrocketed in popularity. It's not too common to find luxury and durability combined in the same item, but here in the Stauffer cutting room is found an exception that proves the rule. A woman interested in her own appearance is pretty generally interested in the appearance of her home and its furnishings. So the fabric covering of the Stauffer portable home unit is carefully chosen for its beauty as well as its practicality. Heavy vinyl plastic cloth is used to achieve a graceful blend of attractiveness and durability. While the cloth is flexible, it can never stretch under constant use, an important factor when body weight and motion are present simultaneously. Once the cover patterns are cut on the cloth table, they travel through a succession of sewing processes which convert them into finished covering. Another function of this cutting department is the sewing of special 12-pound sandbags, an important auxiliary of both the Stauffer home and salon units. More than 5 million women so far have enjoyed the benefits of greater relaxation because of the Stauffer system. And there will be even more to come now that Stauffer has expanded production facilities in its new ultra-modern 5-acre plant. Standing by to start us on our tour of Stauffer's facilities is your success story reporter, Ken Peters.
You know, this portable unit just weighs about 32 pounds, and it's designed in such a way that it can fold up and be stored underneath a bed or in a closet. So, of course, two very important factors are lightness and strength. And these are two characteristics of aluminum, as you know. So all of these stacks of aluminum tubing are destined to become the framework of the Stauffer Posture Rest home unit. Of course, when it comes to bending aluminum tubing, you got quite a problem to keep from crimping the material. You'll be interested, I think, in seeing how it's achieved on these special machines here. The thing is, you can't apply any flat pressure to the tubing. It has to be a rolling pressure. Actually, I think on this next machine down here, you'll get a much better idea of how it accomplishes. This is the same piece of tubing making a second bend in it. And if we move in here and watch this again, I think you'll see the way those wheels actually roll up and apply no flat pressure whatever on the unit. And then down here at the third unit, this same piece receives its final bend. You see, that's all there is to it. May I have this one? And you see, you end up with something that looks sort of like a fancy pair of handlebars. This will actually be one of the 2 feet. This part will connect onto the center unit, and then the head and the feet will clamp onto the other end. All that has to be done with this now is to receive a few holes so that it can be attached to the center unit, and that's done by placing it in this jig here and drilling it. Of course, this whole department is given over to different machines, all concerned with shaping and drilling the aluminum tubing. Now, I can't help but be reminded as I tour through here of some of our tours through airplane factories because of the great attention to strength and to weight.
Comfort starts with this specially shaped slab of the finest airfoam rubber, as relaxing a seat cushion as you could hope for away from your easy chair. These slabs are glued to plywood boards which form the seat foundation for the center section oscillating platform. Once the seat board and rubber have been bonded together, they're enclosed in a heavy vinyl plastic cover made in the cutting room we saw earlier. What happens then? Well, let's rejoin Ken Peters and find out.
The whole secret of the Stauffer system is getting that seat board to move in the right directions and at the proper speed, and that's done by an oscillating unit. Now, if you happen to have a curious, mechanically minded youngster in the house, I suggest you have him watch carefully, because otherwise, when you get your unit, he's liable to not be able to resist tearing the whole thing apart to see what makes it work. You watch, fella, and we'll tell you right now how it works. These are the 3 parts that make up the oscillating unit. That's the rocker arm. This is the link assembly, and this is the rocker arm support. And if we'll just watch over here, You can see how Ronnie is performing the first operation in which he adjusts that nut in such a way you get the proper freedom of action. And then down here, Ray is installing the link assembly. And then he'll also take that rocker arm and attach it into position. And the final adjustment of that rocker arm is done by Frank down here. Frank, before you put that, will you rotate that for us so we can...
Be happy to.
I think you can see the eccentric action of that. It's rather a rocking motion. We'll see it a little more clearly a little bit later on. Thanks, Frank. Of course, now you need power to motivate the oscillating unit. And that power is supplied in the form of this very neat little General Electric 112 horsepower motor, specially designed for quiet, efficient operation. Incidentally, the same motor, they tell me, that powers the giant Palomar telescope. So, well, look at here. We've got a doctor in the house. Excuse me, doctor. May I bother you a moment? How's the patient doing?
Oh, just fine.
This is the patient down here, by the way, and this is one of the preliminary inspections. You want to tell us what you're listening for with that stethoscope, doctor?
Well, we're listening for knocks in the pulleys, and in the idler, in the motor, and in the link, and in the yoke, and in the paddle.
Well, how about this patient? Does he get a clean bill of health?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Did a double take the first time I saw Bill in this stethoscope. Then moving rapidly down here are our handlebars again, which now have the little rubber feet installed, and they're ready to join this final assembly line. This is actually the next step where you see the hammered aluminum housing is being wrapped around the oscillating unit. And then down here, the wiring and the relay system and the switches is all properly installed and put in working order. Down here, the end caps are put on, so now we've got our oscillating unit completely enclosed. And about all we have to do now is to install the seat board that you and Hank saw being made a little while ago. Trying to get to the bottom of this thing, Lou told me that this particular unit has been operating 24 hours a day for a year, and that this resistance spring simulates the weight of a 250-pound person. What's the idea of all this, Lou?
Well, you know, we distribute the Stauffer home reducing plan nationwide, Ken, and we not only have to put it through all these tremendous durability tests comparable to aircraft inspection, but we also have to have it tested for climatic conditions, too.
You say nationwide. I understand, actually, that some of the units we've seen manufactured here tonight might end up in places like Timbuktu or such.
We can do better than that. Some of these units you've seen manufactured tonight might even end up in Australia or Southwest Africa, possibly Thailand. In fact, I wish we had the time to tell you about the fabulous Indian princess that visited this country about 6 or 8 months ago.
You do? Go ahead.
Well, in any event, she'd got to our plant because she'd been interested in the Stauffer system. And she came in here just dripping with jewels. She could have barely bought half the country. In any event, when she left us, she had purchased the equivalent of enough equipment to furnish a complete Stauffer system salon, plus a few dozen Stauffer home units for rooms in the palace, you know. And I'm willing to bet you right now that those palace gals are probably, well, I'd say that they're the most beautiful girls in the kingdom today.
Well, if any of you folks are planning a trip to India, get in touch with Lou here. He'll give you the address of that Indian princess, and you can have your Stauffer system treatments all the time you're over there. Lou, I understand that really this last year you've had an unprecedented increase in sales of the portable home unit.
Well, that's true. Ken, up until about a year ago, we were primarily known as a western and southwestern country, not company, not having chosen to go into the Middle West or East to distribute. But in the last 12 months, we've set up now 12 of the finest and most reputable distributors in the United States to date to complete our coverage of the country of some 27 states. And in fact, our business has increased, Ken, about, in excess of 1,000% over the last 18 months.
Of course, it's always good to us to find a Southern California product that is being spread out all over the world and helping to make our Southern California area even more famous than it is. Thanks very much, Lou.
Thank you, Ken.
It's still running, isn't it? They have here at Stauffer's a medical research division which is entirely divorced from the Stauffer home plan and the Stauffer system. I'd like to have you meet the gentleman who's in charge.